Between the Covers, the show for readers and writers and lovers of books. I'm Stephanie, and I'm a publisher at Red Penguin Books, where we publish authors of all types and genres. So whether you have a manuscript on your computer all ready to go, maybe just a thought still in your head, or 300 sheets of loose leaf shoved in a drawer. Yes, we did publish 3 books last year that arrived in an envelope in loose leaf.
Wow.
Old school.
It happens. It happens. One of them, by the way, I'm very grateful that when he went to his second book, his wife bought him a laptop.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
redpenguinbooks.com and unleash your inner author. And I am so excited that we are joined today by 3 authors who have absolutely unleashed themselves. Our first author today is going to be William David Ellis, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes series. And I think, with all due respect to our other authors, I'm going to have to buy these. My husband is a huge, huge Sherlock fan. Paul Alleva, The Rose, which is a sci-fi thriller. God, I love that cover, and I'm a little bit terrified.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, funny.
That is quite a cover. And then finally, Patricia Simpson, the author of Apothecary, which is from the London Chronicles. So we'll start with William David Ellis, the author of the Sherlock Holmes series. And Sherlock Holmes has entered the door of the supernatural. His associates are paranormal. He and Dr. Watson have braved ancient worlds and found them pleasant and dangerous, and is always full of mysteries and evil that draws him in. It will take every gift that he has, all of his deductive powers, and more to survive the evil that has targeted him. Please welcome David Ellis. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, man.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to have you here today with us.
Thank you.
And a Sherlock guy. I mean, not only, I told you before the show that I was lucky enough to do the Sherlock Holmes tour in London, but even bigger, I went to see Reichenbach Falls in Switzerland.
Oh,
That's awesome.
My husband is a huge, huge fan. I mean, we have to like tour the
Sure.
world just for Sherlock Holmes.
I just want to know which Sherlock Holmes I'm supposed to be visualizing in your books. Is
The
he
original.
completely different? Jeremy Brett?
No. He's Arthur Conan Doyle. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
right.
old
But the
British-
actor,
well, maybe the 40s, the guy from the 40s. I can't
Oh,
remember. his name.
Basil Rathbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
Old timey.
and David, tell us, how did you get hooked on Sherlock?
I don't know when I first began to read Sherlock Holmes, but then I ran out of stories. And I thought, well, surely that's not all he's done. And then I found out he was public domain. And I thought, well, all right. More. And so I took off with it. And I had previously written some fantasy novels, and I was still in that mode. So quite naturally, Sherlock Holmes wasn't just limited to what he was doing, because things started happening. And I do have some experience dealing with the occult. And so it quite naturally creeps, and I say that like I mean it, into my books. And so we deal with it. And I love to write because I like to find out how the story, unfolds. So basically that's how I got started. And I started with a single short story. And then some of my friends wanted to know more. And I thought, well, there isn't any. And so I wrote it. And then somebody else said, well, you need to write one more, and you can put it in kind of a novella. And so that's when, Angels, Saints, and Sinners came out. And then I got such a good response to that I wrote The Long Game, and now I'm writing Backlash. That's the 3rd one in the series. So I'm a little disappointed that my fantasy series, Sherlock Holmes sells. Sherlock Holmes people know about. But my other series is one I really enjoy, because that's written in East Texas. And it's kind of hard to write Sherlock Holmes accent when you sound like you're from Texas.
That's too funny.
Patricia, I guess the one who's starring in his movie has an accent.
Yeah.
That's true.
What kind of paranormal elements are in your novels?
Oh, well, my favorite characters, they're his new associates, Francis and Johnny Allparts. Now, Francis Allparts is the Frankenstein monster. And that's why all parts, okay. And so, but it's 150 years after he was created, and all the stitches are gone. The bolts are no longer sticking out of his head, and he's a very refined person. His
Mm.
wife, on the other hand, I called her Johnny because of that old song, Frankie and Johnny Were Lovers. And so that's where I got the name, Johnny.
Oh,
She is a
Mm.
firebrand. I mean, she's tough and beautiful. And so I joined them into this group. And
Mm.
so I don't know if that answered your question or not. Sometimes I
Sherlock
get,
meets the occults. This is a new one on me.
Yeah, that's just right up my alley. I'll have
Right.
to check you out.
definitely. I like the imagination. Frankenstein's my favorite book, so I like that you got him in
Mm.
there. I'll
Well,
definitely
Yeah.
have to check that out.
you may not like it. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's got
We'll see.
a
We'll
sixth
see.
sense of humor to it. It really does.
I like a sixth sense of humor, so we're good. We're good.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I
Thank
write
you.
sci-fi, but I also write horror. So bring it on.
Oh, well, we need to get together and talk.
Yeah, I just wrote a cosmic horror type of novel, which is also pays homage to the old Grindhouse movies, 60s and 70s.
Mm.
So we should definitely, it's called Jiggly Spot and the Zero Intellect. So
Good grief.
it's a
Ew.
wild one. Yeah.
Jeez.
So we should definitely have a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. David, how long did it take you to write these books? There's another one coming, right?
Well, I actually have a life other side's writing, and so it usually takes me about, I can write 1,000 words in probably 3 hours or less.
Okay.
So total time for 50,000, I don't know, I could probably write one in 90 days, and then you have to go through the editing process and all that. And I have a
Wow.
wonderful editor. Man, she's gifted. Ooh, and diplomatic. You mean she
That always
doesn't take it
helps.
from you and then make it hers. She knows how to keep your voice and your thoughts, and she knows how to graciously tell me I'm really being stupid, and I love it. I love her. I mean, she's awesome. She really is.
My God, what a gift. That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, I had an editor in New York once that sent me back my manuscript, and this is when they were on paper,
Hmm.
with purple, everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But they
I
had to.
know.
My first editor was my wife. She's an English teacher, and we survived. We
You
decided.
survived that?
Yes, believe it or not. I mean, we fought over every other word. I'm thinking, lady,
Oh,
I love you, but the reason you're in English, you just can't write. And that was awful, but I got over that. We did great.
I think
And
hiring an outside editor was like the best thing you could do for your marriage.
yes, ma'am, you're absolutely right. It was. She still formats the book, and she's great at it.
Okay.
But no, we don't. I don't let her near it. I really don't.
Once it's like in a hard copy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good time. Once it's in a hard copy. Now, you said something just now when you were talking about these books that you write because you want to hear what happens in the story. So does that mean that you don't know when the story starts what's going to happen? You're just making it up.
Well, I know how I want it to end, but I don't know how it gets there.
Okay. So you
Okay.
know a beginning and you know an end, and everything in the middle you kind of fly by the seat of your pants.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I do.
Well, because sometimes if you know everything, it loses something.
Absolutely.
Your characters
right.
know too much.
Surprises are a good thing.
You
Yeah.
have to let the right brain
Definitely.
rule, because the left brain's in charge of it. It'll be very sterile and very outlined, and everything will be worked out, and it won't be fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Good plan.
So I have three pantsers on the call here.
That's right.
I hope so. They're the only ones with any creative gifting. I mean, pansters. Gosh, yay, pansters.
I'm
That's
I'm
right.
half an I'm bi. I'm bi.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I am like way too OCD to totally.
It's okay. I bet you make a great editor.
Now, David, tell us, since you're a pantser, did any of your characters just totally shock you that you sat back and you're like, whoa, what just happened here?
Not so much in Holmes, because there are certain things that are dictated. And I
Okay.
discovered when I was writing my first novels that after you get into the second or third book, then the parameters for adding new characters and new dynamics are limited, and you're starting to get, and especially if you get toward the end of a book, you got to tie this up.
Yeah.
So I'm I don't even remember what you asked me, guys.
I know.
That's why I like vampires, because a vampire villain can always come back.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh man. Oh man.
That's what I have. So
Oh.
Vampire villains.
yeah.
Well, it's funny y'all would mention that because today I was at the coffee shop that I frequent, and I'm really enjoy the conversation I have with the lady that serves, and we got to talking, and she gave me some ideas. She said, you need to write a story about the granddaughter of Dracula, and I said, so the title would be Dracula was my grandpa, and she said, yeah, and then she told me she served coffee at the coffee stop, and I'm saying, yeah, and her name is Mary, isn't it? She said, how did you know? Oh gosh, but it's a great story. It's a great story, and it was halfway written by the time I got to the coffee shop.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna have to write that one.
No, wait, hey, you can't have that. That's mine.
Well,
I shouldn't have told you. All right, now
I know.
that's
Well,
it.
hey,
Oh my gosh,
you better
click
start
buzz.
writing.
Goodbye. Yeah.
That's right.
me.
Off a character, you could always bring them back.
So Patricia, you write vampires too?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
Apothecary was a pharmacist. Apothecary is a pharmacist. So your vampire hands out meds?
Who said the apothecary was the vampire?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, that's an assumption. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's but there are vampires in there. Yeah.
Wait.
There are.
It's
I have
dystopian.
vampires too.
Hmm.
Yeah. The Rose, alien vampires, slightly different.
Really?
And it's dystopian as well. Alien vampires, yes.
Nice.
And they're living in Hollow Earth, and they're attempting to subjugate the human race.
Oh my
Well,
gosh, you
and
have borrowed from somebody. Oh, man,
mine
that's
have
awesome.
subjugated them.
Aha! All right.
But you
They're more advanced.
I'm feeling an anthology coming on here, guys.
There you go.
I would love to write with you.
Yeah, that would be funny.
I want an
Mhm.
anthology, or if I just want a mashup. I think the three of you after this should just do. Did you ever do that thing that like one person writes, a chapter, a paragraph, or something, and then sends it off, and then add, and then add? You could just imagine where this would go.
That'd be funny.
True.
That'd be an interesting way, kind of
We'll
like
be
the
creative.
books. Absolutely, the Mad Libs of books. We can do that. But David, the original question was, if anything shocked you when you were writing, like, did you sit back and say, "Oh God, I didn't expect that to happen. Now, how do I get myself out of it?" Or
Oh
you,
yeah.
like,
Whenever you kill off a character, you're kind of stuck. Except of course if they're a vampire, and then you're going, "What did I do?" And so you have to get really creative. It's like you get into this little box. And if you're all left brained, you can't get out of the box. But if you're right brained, you'll blow a hole in that thing, get out of there. It's just awesome. So yes, I writ myself into little boxes, and then I go to sleep, and you dream, and then you know what to do. It's just that simple.
I do weeding. I do weeding for that.
What?
I go out in the yard and do some weeding or something.
Oh.
And all of a sudden my brain figures it out.
oh, really?
You know?
Are you
Yeah.
smoking those weeds?
No.
I have a lot of weeds. If you get stuck, you can come over.
Okay.
We do have a lot of weeds over there.
Y'all are awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
You got a little preview of
Whoa.
Holy
Nice.
the
My
Road,
buck.
a
There it
dystopian
is.
thriller. And in his book, Sandy Cox believed that World War III was over. But for those alien vampires, here we come, alien vampires, war
Right.
had just begun.
It's just
48
begun.
hours after a World War III treaty is signed, Sandy Cox awakens in an underground compound, unable to move. Tied to machines, she screams for help, but no one answers. At least no one human. And they've taken her child.
Oh,
Unborn.
Mm-mm.
I hate vampires like that.
That's right. A lot of genetic manipulation going on in that book. There's not only alien vampires, there's gray aliens in there as well. And they're actually conspired with elite human beings to subjugate the rest of the human race. So you have alien vampires with gray aliens and some human beings as well. and they're all doing their thing and trying to subjugate the human race. They're doing genetic experimentation, and they're trying to come up with a pharmaceutical. So they're giving everyone this pharmaceutical that destroys gray matter in the brain, essentially turning them all into like mindless zombies, just willing to do whatever they're told.
I thought we were already doing that.
So yeah, I also work in, so I'm also a psychologist and a hypnotist, and I've been working in addiction for a long period of time. So yeah, with the whole opiate epidemic, you see stuff like that all the time. It's going on, and who's really behind all this and what's happening. So there's some conspiracy theories in the book as well.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I need to pick your brain in reference to overdose, because one of my characters in Holmes is about to have one, and I don't want to do it right now, but I'm serious about connecting with you later.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Be more than happy to help. I love collaborating, definitely want to. I always say that a great project takes a collaboration. It's multiple people looking at it, everybody helping out to get that product done, essentially as perfect as it possibly can. That takes a lot, that takes help from other people. So I love my beta readers, especially. They give me that feedback, and it's like, all right, it strengthens the novel, it strengthens the core that's going on, so definitely collaboration is a good thing. Just let me know.
I'll even change my book sometimes if a reader leaves me a review that strikes me as very valuable. I'll change my book.
Wow, good stuff.
How much would change? How much? Yeah, how much are you willing to
They're
change?
usually divvy-dab changes, not structural.
Right.
Yeah.
The little things.
So in your alien book, where are they living? They're living underground. Where's the portal?
Okay, so alien vampires living in Hollow Earth. So they have cities in Hollow Earth throughout the planet. This particular book, though, The Rose, takes place the entire time in an underground medical complex outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So what happens is Sandy Cox, she gets captured, and they birth her baby. They're doing genetic experiments, but of course, the rebellion is coming, and the rebellion, she's very important to the rebellion. And they send in one of their top people. His name is Phil, who is a martial arts expert. It's kind of like go a little bit Matrix on everyone there. And he goes into the underground compound to rescue her. At the same time, there's rogue military people, and everyone's trying to get out of this underground compound. So The Rose itself takes place in that underground compound. Now that I'm writing volume 2, we're in what's called Drock City, because the alien vampires are called Drocks, D-R-A-C. It's called Drock City, and it's in Hollow Earth, and it's like set up. I've been doing a little bit of research on like Nikola Tesla and trying to set up the city according to that, how they're getting energy, what is the, what's the society and their culture. And I've been having a wild time with it. Book 2, I think I'm about 65,000 words into it and about halfway done. So it is a mountain, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. I will say that.
The world building is so fun.
Yes, it is. The attention to detail and just getting those little intricate parts in there is just great. It's kind of like a silver city underneath the earth.
Now that's an amazing thing. Both of you just alluded to it. The world building is fun. I didn't build a world. I stole one. and I tweaked it. I don't think I have the imagination to do what both of you just described that you did. I mean, you have to invent everything.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
fun.
just like it. Well, I'm sure it is, but
it is.
Gosh, man, that's amazing. That's quite a word.
It's funny you should mention Nikola Tesla, because he's the password for my characters to get into this underground pub.
Nice. I like it. Very cool. We definitely have a lot of Tesla fans out there right now.
Yeah.
So,
Your first novel?
All right. So The Rose is actually my 6th published book. I have published anywhere from psychological thriller to a family saga, some dark fiction, an inspirational dark fiction book as well called Presenting the Marriage of Kellyanne and Jerry Dennemer, which has some spiritual concepts in there, but it's all wrapped up in basically it follows a guy named Jerry Dennemer, and what happens is he's down on his luck, decides to try to hang himself, but his suicide is thwarted by a voice in his smart TV that pulls him into the TV into another dimension.
Jeez.
And he has to kind of like rectify his past, understand like what is going on with him and why he's choosing and making the choices that he's doing. However, at the same time, there is a protest happening in Los Angeles about over a prisoner, a terrorist prisoner that they're holding there, and they're trying to extradite him. But there's a link, I won't say what it is because I'll just be giving away the entire story, between Jerry's suicide and this terrorist prisoner. And that's
It's Comcast. It's Comcast.
That's right. Too funny. So, but that's presenting the marriage of Kellyanne and Jerry Denimer. And then I also wrote a nonfiction self-help philosophical book because I owned a treatment center a long time ago. A couple of friends and other therapists and philosophers as well. And that's called Let Your Soul Evolve. And that was mostly given to my patients in that treatment center, but it is available.
Right. Okay. So you're going from your work, which is really cool. David, you said you work at something besides writing. What is that?
I'm a pastor.
Oh.
Y'all couldn't tell? Oh, now you're going to get spooked and run off. I know. That's why I didn't want to tell you. I was going to tell you I was a beekeeper and a writer, but you asked, so I did.
I love it.
Very cool.
A pastor writing about paranormal Sherlock Holmes with Frankenstein's monster. I love it.
Way to get into the books I wrote where my dragons pray.
Okay, that's
All my dragons are Baptists.
that definitely puts a new spin on things. You know, Paul's books and his work in psychiatry, it's like, you know, that just puts another spin on it, and hypnotism and such. And
Yeah.
that's just a whole another thing. And now when we talk to Patricia, I'm not sure if she's going to tell me she's a pharmacist or not, but she wrote Apothecary from the Londo Chronicles, Book 1. In this riveting Gothic romance, Joanna's vow to protect her wayward sister leads to a hellish secret and a man who will shatter her world. Joanna Wilder's vow to protect her younger sister is put to the test when Eva vanishes 5 days before her government-arranged marriage. She's afraid that Eva has run away with her forbidden lover, or worse, has disappeared into the darkness of Londo City, never to be seen again. Joanna ventures into the night, violating curfew and risking everything to search for her sister. Welcome, Patricia. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It's been fun talking to all of you. So,
yeah, no, great having you. And this is book 1 of the Londo Chronicles.
yes, Apothecary is book 1. And like William, I started writing a novella with my writing group. We all got sick of what we were working on. We said, hey, let's just write a 25,000 page or 25,000 word story, you know, have some fun. And so I started writing about the steampunk world where there was no electricity, there were no cars, set in London, and they had a marriage machine that people had to go into to get married and get pregnant. It was kind of a reproductive issue. And I had so much fun with that now I'm on my 4th book in this series.
Oh, sounds nice.
Wow.
And lo and behold, vampires cropped up, and you know, it got real serious real fast. Because it's a dystopian novel. Yeah. And I call it Londo City because it's set in 2525 after a nuclear cataclysm. And where was I going with that?
Londo City.
Oh, Londo. Yeah. And London used to be called Londinium. And then it was called London. And people don't know how to read anymore. And the signs, you know, have been wrecked. So you only see Londo now. And so they think it's Londo. And that's what they call it, Londo City.
Very cool. And Patricia, what do you do now that we heard about Paul and David? Is there a regular life, or you're so busy?
I mostly sit around on my couch and eat bonbons, you know. But no, I just retired, and I hate to say this, but I was an IT professional for 37 years.
Oh man.
At a major university. So yeah.
So she's done. She is one and done, man. That's why.
But it was with school of nursing. And so that's where the medical stuff comes in, I think. Yeah.
Even for IT, it all still osmosis. It came to you.
Yeah, I know all about wound care and this kind of stuff because of all the, the conferences and things you set up and the slideshows you help with. And
very cool. Now you said this is your fourth book in the series, but this says, or your fourth book in this world, but this is
right.
the Chronicles book 1. So you
This is book 1. Yeah, there's the second one's called The Phoenix. It's about the wayward sister who has to redeem herself. And then there's the prodigy who is related to these 2 women. I can't tell you how yet. And she's a piano genius. And then I'm working on the Chimera, which is the 4th book about one of the vampires who has a weird DNA situation.
Oh,
Nice, interesting.
Yeah.
The plot thickens.
yes.
Yes. And my vampires, it's weird because you know how I think writers are kind of prescient. And I started writing this whole series like in 2012. My vampires have a weird virus that they don't know what's causing it.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're searching for a clue with human beings, just like your
Right.
story. Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
So
The
that's
spiritual side of me just latched onto that, that we're prophetic. picking up on
Yes.
things. I really believe some of that's true. How much, I don't know, but I definitely think people get a sense of what's coming.
I think we do. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm writing about DNA and people that have 2 strands inside of them. So what does that tell you?
I don't know.
I'm,
That's pretty
I'm
cool.
worried personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Understand.
Yeah.
like an
2
unborn
strands of DNA.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. They can have 2 different blood types.
Yeah. Stephanie, we're gonna let you talk in a minute.
No, they say sometimes people can have 2 kinds of DNA in their bodies and this is just one reason why they absorb their twin, and they will find out if they're trying to get prove their child is theirs or whatever, and they don't have the same chromosomes or anything in certain tests. It's just really bizarre.
Oh my.
And I think of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when I think of
All right,
that.
now quit right there.
Ah.
Stop. 'Cause I just wrote them into my Sherlock Holmes. Oh my gosh. See, you did it. You just did it. Yeah, you just read right into them. I'm thinking, how does this, gosh, this is so.
Oh no.
Leave
I gotta leave right now.
No, you don't. Quit that.
well, this is great because now we get like the medical end and the spiritual end and the psychological end all in the same call. This is,
Yeah. We're deep. We're real deep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's why I wear boots.
directions. Exactly. How about research? I mean, did you all know everything to go in the book, or did anyone do any?
Of course.
Yeah, tell me, what'd you get to do? What fun? Did you go to London? Did you do
Oh, Wikipedia.
Oh,
What can I say?
Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also
I've been to London a couple times. My husband is from Scotland. And by the way, I wrote about a whole bunch of Scottish heroes before I met him. And I don't know if I manifested him or
Oh,
if I just am attracted to that. But I did research in London for my series.
oh, very cool. You have a Scottish series too, then.
Yeah, I have a couple Scottish books. Yeah.
Very
I've written 21 books.
Oh, wow.
oh,
Yeah.
So-
I've published with Tor, HarperCollins, and Silhouette in my past. And yeah.
under
Lots of
Patricia
books.
Simmons or Simpson?
Simpson. Yeah. Hmm.
And that's the name you use for the tour books too.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
They started a
Simpson.
paranormal line called what was it? Shadow? No, I forget what they called it. I was one of the first ones in there. The Dark Lord is one of my books
I
with
think
them.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lord.
She had time for IT with nurses. I don't know.
Oh,
Right.
and it just writers are workaholics.
Yeah, well, there's that.
This is a fact. That is a
Yeah.
100% fact.
Yeah. Now that I'm retired, I just can't, I can't stop writing, I guess I'll always do it. You just can't stop.
Why would
It's
you?
like
That's right.
therapy. Yeah.
the ideas just keep going. They flow from one book to the other, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I got another idea, and it could be something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
I write horror books too, so it's like they both feed one another. And I'll get writing this concept, and hey, this will go great in this book as well, and kind of keep floating around. So,
can I ask you a question in relationship to that? The idea, you use the word idea, and this is also applies to you, Patricia. Stephen King said, don't write down your ideas because you'll only empower one that is weak or not very good. What do y'all think about that? Because sometimes I do write down. If I get an idea in the middle of the night, I'll kind of write it down. Do you, when you get an idea, do you write it down, or do you wait to see if it's going to come back?
At first, I'll wait a little bit, right, and then kind of like let the story and the theme of the story kind of like sink into my mind. And then once I got it, I'm like, yes, this is something I'm definitely going to write. I'll start I send myself little emails, and I get a nice folder going. Because I could be just laying in bed with my wife watching whatever, whatever we're watching. The idea will just pop into my head. All right, phone's right there. Send that email, and then I just keep it all in a nice little folder in my email. And then I'll go back to it once I'm ready to start actually writing that book. So when I'm writing one book, I just want to write that book and deal with that book. I don't like to, I feel like I'm cheating on the book if I start writing another one. I don't know, maybe I'll get over it later in life, but right now that's the way I like to do it. But sometimes I'll write like maybe the first chapter or something like that, just to keep it there and let it marinate, and then add it as I'm getting those emails and stuff like that going and finishing up that other book. And then I'll just go right into that book at that time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You write more than one book at a time, or do you stick to one?
No, I'm too analog. No, I've got to stick with one thing at a time. But like you, I let it fester. If it's a good idea, it'll keep it niggling at me. And then after I'm done with my current work, I will try to write a little bit in the new book and see if it has some legs.
Yeah.
The word marinate and fester are different words, right? Because you just two visual images, and I'm going, oh, ooh, okay.
I'm a paranormal author. I do fester.
You're also a medical person, so fester doesn't bother you in a bit. Oh man.
I was thinking the same thing, David. I had a picture of a steak, and then I had a picture of leeches.
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking, whoa.
Yeah.
Which one of y'all writes horror? I'm like, man.
Right. Woo. Woo. You write more than one thing at a time, David, or you stick to one thing at a time?
One thing at a time, because I get really focused. And my wife is multitasker. She can listen to one conversation, one room, and another one, and know what somebody else is talking about somewhere else. I can't. I mean, I'm like, boom. So I have to close the door. I go back and reread what I've written, and then I'm back in the flow, boom. But I can't write anything but what I'm writing. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I can't leave it sometimes. I've driven past my house because my characters were in my head talking to me.
Gosh, yes.
Yes. Missed buses, I
had surgery about 6-8 weeks ago, and I had an allergic reaction to anesthesia, and so I was out of my mind for 3 days, and I was talking to my characters. And I know that's nutty fruitcake. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
It really was. I mean, I was nuts, and there I was just talking away.
That's too funny. I love it.
You do? Well, I wish you'd have been there. I was not happy.
I gotta help you with that at that moment. Get you out of that.
Oh, gosh.
Now, Patricia mentioned when she gets stuck, she goes out and weeds her garden. What do you do? Do you have a secret writer's block tip?
What's funny is I wrote a blog about this. It's using mindfulness techniques to combat writer's block. So it's like what I've noticed when there's something going on, or I'm getting a writer's block or whatever, there's something about the story, maybe my tone changed. Definitely usually comes down to I just wrote a character wrong and I need to get back to that character and kind of rewrite what I just wrote. But I always take a break and do something. Going out and weeding is perfect. That's like this. Perfect. I'll go for a walk, or I'll just set it aside and try to distract myself by doing other things. I do a lot of meditation as well. So I'll meditate on it. I'll go for walks. I'll let it sit, and then boom, the answer just slips in, and it's perfect. And then what I noticed too, especially with when I was writing Jiggly Spot in the Zero Intellect, I had this whole plan in my head. I knew where it was going. And those pesky characters kept messing with me the whole way through. It's like I would get stuck. And then like a couple days later, I'm like, why did I write this? That was the whole thing. Why did I write this particular scene? What's going on in the scene? I couldn't understand where it was going. And then I would step back from it and do those techniques. And the next thing I know, the answer would pop in my head. And I'd be like, that Jiggly Spot keeps messing with me. It's like they know where they're going more than I know where they're going in that book.
The brain is
over.
amazing. It's an amazing thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So creative.
Fascinating. 100%.
Yeah.
Not stop it. David, how about you? Writer's block. What's your tip? Because that's
Well, Paul actually alluded to it, and he used a lot more words with a lot more syllables. Prone to do, and his sounded really intellectual, and mine just is. It's my imagination telling me I took a wrong turn, so I back up to where the inspiration stopped, reread it, and I know where I'm going. You have to go where the flow stopped, and then go from there. And I think we just said the same thing. You just said it better.
I love that. So many people ask me, what do you do about writer's block? I have writer's block. What should I do? And both of you are kind of saying, if you have writer's block, everyone keeps trying to go forward. I can't go forward. And, what do I need? More chocolate, more wine, more sleep, something like there's a secret thing out there. And both of you were like, basically back up. You took a wrong turn. Back up. Be having the block if you were on the right road.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me personally, when I encounter that, it's always the conflict is not correct. There's something, I've lost the thread of the conflict, or the theme is not correct. And you have to go back.
Yeah. So we got that problem solved. All the writers, you have $1 million blog right here, and you need to share that with the world and make us all famous.
Exactly.
That's right.
So if we could solve, the serial comma, then we're all done.
Oh.
So do I have people who are pro or con the serial comma here?
I'm kind of con. I think it's dumb.
All right, we got a definite nope up there.
I agree with that 100%.
No commas before
No
and.
commas. That's right.
I'm an ellipsis person.
Oh God.
I love my 3 dots,
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So comma's just not strong enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I've discovered I'm an M dash girl.
M dashes. Yeah, love them.
Any day.
But I've really changed my use of parenthetical phrases because I started narrating my own books, and man, that stuff is hard to read. So I've really cut down my sentence length in my current writing.
Interesting.
All right, you raised a question there. I've got an audiobook, and when the narrator got through with it, I thought, that doesn't sound like my characters. Did you struggle? Well, if you're doing your own narration, you know how to do it, but
yeah,
that's a real struggle because somebody takes the people you invented or created, and now they're putting them into themselves and then throwing them out, and sometimes it doesn't come out like you put it in.
It's not your vision. Yeah.
No, thank you, ma'am. That's the word for it. Really,
I think that's what happens when our books get created into movies. I wish that would happen someday. But, you just lose so much artistic control.
Yes.
I'm glad
It's true.
books because I work in producing audiobooks, and my first choice is always author narrated, and I'll have authors come to me and say, because we have narrators. And I'll say, yeah, we have narrators, but really, if you have the time and the inclination, I think you're going to be happier. And they'll often say, well, I'm not really an actor. Yeah, but you created the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the tone, the emphasis, yeah.
I'm guessing that you're not, a non-writing life, a voiceover actress. That's not what you narrate your own audiobooks. And I better than anybody else would.
Except I had one person comment about my cowboy, Jack.
Really?
His voice wasn't low enough. It's like, give me a break. I'm a female.
Hell,
I do.
But I think that's great that you're doing your own narration.
I do too. That's
I
wild.
love it.
I do
love it.
too. I'm about to jump into audiobooks for The Rose, Volume 1 and 2. So, and I've been like wrestling with that idea as well. So I feel like I have a very monotone voice. So I don't know how well I could pull it off. But when you get into the characters and get into the story, the emotions and the juices are flowing. You get into it, and you probably are the best one to be
Maybe.
narrating it at that time.
Yeah.
Well, sample it, play with it,
Yeah.
see if it works for you, and if it
Yeah.
doesn't, because those narrators, at least what I've discovered, they had different folks, and you could listen to them,
Yeah.
and but you do the little sample yourself, see how it feels.
Yeah.
The energy
That's
starts
right.
to flow. Go with the go.
Keep going,
It's-
keep going.
It is a lot of work.
It is a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Did you go to a private studio?
No, I
Patricia.
actually created my own home studio.
Really?
I have a root cellar in this house I'm living in right now, and I just put all these sound panels up and everything, and I've got really good mic, and I've worked a lot at improving my sound.
Wow.
Sound quality.
I don't think a southern Texas accented Sherlock Holmes would fly though.
What did you say, ma'am? I'm a little bit confused about that.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, pour yourself a pint and just get started.
Right?
There's a lot to be said for you doing it your way. And even now I work with authors who want a narrator, and for us to match them, because some authors want their stuff to be like a little movie with one person playing all the parts. And some want more of a straight, solid read. They really want that, it's a stylized, you're reading, somebody is dead on the floor and their guts are hanging out, but I'm going to say it with a straight face.
Ugh.
Some people want that. And it's really what the author wants. It's great if you have the time and the root cellar to do it. That's fantastic to be able to do it yourself.
Well, I was a storyteller before I was a writer, and I had to make the transition, and I don't think I could do that with a very stylized, calm voice. I mean, you'd hear the screech. You really
Oh, I
will.
think you should. I think you should.
Yeah,
hear
that's
the
kind of what I was
screech.
thinking too.
And
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes in Texas is exactly where you should be.
Hey, when Paul was talking about his vampires needing help, I knew where they were coming from, because I got a bunch of redneck friends that come in there and take out that flock. They're tough. They really are. And y'all think I'm joking. Oh, man. A lot of my stories came from this little cafe where I sit and drink coffee and listen to these old codgers talk. Oh man, it's wonderful. The imagination and the old stories they tell. So I didn't mean to go on that.
That's like Mario Puzo, when he wrote The Godfather. He got most of those stories when he was in Vegas, and all the old Italians would come into Vegas and they'd be gambling, and they're all talking and telling their stories while gambling, and he was listening, and that's where he got The Godfather. That's where
Oh,
it spawned from.
what did he do there? Do you know?
Where? In Vegas?
Puzo. Yeah, in Vegas.
I don't know. I did not get that. All I know is that he was there, and that's where he got those stories from.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Patricia, you alluded to when they make the movie, it never is exactly like your vision, and nice problem to have. But
fact.
They make a movie or a TV series, doesn't the author always say this was not what they no. Usually you have to sign it away.
Yeah.
And but they'll flat out say, well, while I appreciate what's on the screen, and if you've read the book, they're very different.
It's like Stephen King hated The Shining, but Anne Rice did like Interview with the Vampire. From what I remember, she had said that they nailed it. They got it.
But she had a big problem with Tom Cruise as
yes.
her vampire, though.
Yeah, she did. She did not want him there.
He did a pretty good job, though.
He did.
Nice problem to disagree with their casting of your Hollywood movie, but it's still an issue.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'd like to be Julia Quinn these days. I think she's a Seattle-based writer. I used to know her a long time ago, and she's the author of the Bridgerton stories.
The Bridgerton stories.
Mm-hmm.
Which are very different on screen than they are in the books. I mean, even the
Yeah, good stuff.
character of Queen Charlotte is not in the books. That was
Oh,
for the television series.
mm-hmm.
It's not even, I mean, she's a major, major character in the television series. She doesn't even exist in the books.
Huh.
So, I'm sure that, the author is sitting there cashing the check, having a nice time. But she's kind of watching a TV series saying, this is interesting. It's not my book, but it's
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for the money.
And I think that's the way they see it. Like, George R. R. Martin with the Game of
Game
Thrones.
of Thrones. Yeah.
Mhm.
They went further than he even went with the books because he didn't finish.
Oh, wow.
And at this point, to be honest, I don't know how he would go back. He's supposed to finish the last book in the series. They finished the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's dead.
Like,
What can you do?
I mean, except for cash that check, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I said nice problem to have. But
He probably doesn't have to do anything. Even if I made $1 million as an author, though, I would still write. I would never
Oh,
stop.
absolutely. Yes.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. My idea when I retire is to continue to write books, and maybe just write poetry, hang around, maybe move to Sicily or something like that, enjoy
Yeah.
life, write poetry, put out poetry books, always writing.
oh, I
Before you go to Sicily, come to Texas. And then you may not want to go to Sicily.
I love Texas. Texas is a great place.
Awesome, man.
Well, not last week, but maybe
Yeah,
some-
definitely.
any other time.
That's
Fact.
true. Yeah.
Well, Paul is in Sicily writing poetry in the dream. Where are you, David? Are you still in East Texas, or are you someplace else? In the dream.
Oh, my.
What are you writing?
Oh, my. Why don't you go to Patricia? Let me think about that. That's all.
Oh, I know where I'm going to be.
Okay, go for it.
I'm going to be in this villa on this hill overlooking the sea. It's going to be kind of tropical, and I'll be writing screenplays with Richard Curtis.
Woo!
Nice. I like that.
Tropical, huh? Are we talking
Yeah.
a palm tree kind of thing and a laptop?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I like that. All right,
Somewhere warm.
David, you had time. You want to go someplace warm right now too, Dave, don't you?
Actually, the snow melted. We had Texas days, and boom, it's gone like 30 minutes. Yeah. So
Nice.
Well, I want to visit you all. I've never been to Sicily. I love something warm, and David's going to tell us where his dream place is.
yeah, I want my
David.
own planet.
Planet.
Nice.
Hey, you asked my dream, right? I want my own planet. No thorns, no red bugs, no mosquitoes, no fire ants, whatever else it is. No poisonous snakes, no stickers. That's what I want. You
I
asked.
think that's Montana.
They don't have anything else either. No, man. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I used to live there.
Oh, you lived in Montana? Where in Montana?
I grew up in Montana, almost to the Canadian border, way in northwest Montana.
Did I say no blizzards?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you didn't.
Yeah, I got that.
All right.
Oh, way up by like Glacier National Park?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Libby,
Very
Libby, Montana. It's the environmental catastrophe area of the United States because of the asbestos mine we had and mesothelioma.
Mm.
Yeah. Fun times.
Understood. Not healthy.
Yeah.
Bay Area now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what is next on the writing agenda? Let's start with Paul. What's next for you on the writing?
All right, so right now the Rose Volume 2. However, Rose Volume 2 will come out probably this summer, I'm looking for, maybe like August. We'll see. As soon as I finish it, I'll know the exact date. And then I have a horror thriller coming out, which is called Gollum. All right, and that'll
Oh.
come out in October. And that is, takes place in the late 1940s, early 1950s New York. Follows this new detective, kind of a naive, wet behind the ears detective, who is assigned to find the DA's missing daughter, and his only lead is a psychiatric patient called Alina Francone, who is a high society New York socialite and sculptor, and tells him the story of how she incarnated Gollum into her statue, and he is wreaking havoc all over New York.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, it's oof. definitely hit some evil tones on that one. So psychologically deep.
All right.
Very exciting though. Very exciting. That'll come out in October.
Very
Sounds really interesting.
forward to. I love it. David, what's next on your writing list?
I've got two, both in different series. Sherlock Holmes, Backlash, third book. I'm 35,000 words into it. It probably won't be over 100,000, and I'm going to finish that. It's about a witch cast a spell on Holmes's associates because there are things in their lives that evil can attach to. And again, from my experiences in the occult, that's exactly how it happens. We draw things into our lives. And so they have to find what it is. And in Johnny Allpart's, it's her eye. You know, she was made from this person as a really evil eye, and the witch found out about it. And so she goes after her eye. And the other young woman, Maria Spurgeon, she was long ago, she was an assassin, and she killed a lover that she really loved, and it just broke her heart. And so those things have drawn the demonization. And so that's the Sherlock Holmes I'm writing now. And then I'm going to I think I'm going to finish the Harry Ferguson Chronicles with my 5th book. And I'm hating that because I've got to end the book. And I love those folks, and I love those characters, and it's hard to let it go. Yeah. It sure is. So anyway.
Cool. Patricia, what's next on your writing parade?
Well, I mentioned that I wanted to write my 4th Londo Chronicle book called Chimera. I haven't even started it yet because I'm not sure I'm qualified to write about a person with that experience. So I'm putting it off and writing a book that's literary fiction only. And it's about a family that was destroyed by grief because one of their family members died overseas under mysterious circumstances. And all of a sudden, this artist emerges in Europe that won't speak, wears a mask, and looks just like the person that died. And what is this going to do to their family? So it's kind of like a detective literary novel. The sister goes to Europe to see what's going on and who this person really is.
Wow. Does it have a title yet?
It's either going to be Saints and Martyrs or The Perfect Solution. So I don't know yet.
Okay, well,
very
please
good.
Posted. Let's remind our viewers of the books that we're talking about today. And obviously there's a lot more coming up. William David Ellis, the Sherlock Holmes series, Angels, Saints, and Sinners, The Long Game, and other stuff also. So check him out and check out all of those things. Paul Alleva, The Rose, and Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. I love hearing that there's a lot of books out there and more to come. And Patricia Simpson, Apothecary. This is book 1 of the Londo Chronicles. There's at least 3 more out there, but I definitely want to catch this piece of literary fiction that's also coming out there. For all 3 of you, as you release new books, please do me a favor, send me some news so I can send it out to all of our own viewers on our social media and email lists, and join us back here between the covers. You guys are fabulous. I can't wait to read.
Thank you for having us.
It was so fun.
Thanks so much.
Had a good time.
Happy reading.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Between the Covers. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're an author who would be interested in appearing on our show, or perhaps you're a member of a book club, we do host book clubs as well, please visit BetweenTheCoversTV.com. By the way, at BetweenTheCoversTV.com, you can watch past episodes in addition to learning more about our authors and guests. So sign up there if you would like to be a guest on the show yourself. And if you have some books that you would like to get written or published, visit redpenguinbooks.com. Thanks so much for joining us.